Hello viewers, welcome to a new season of the East Manchester Experiment here at Alsager Town for the first game of the new season. Obviously until towards the end they were a bit of a title rival last year, so it's an interesting first game to have. There has been a bit of movement. For a while it looked like I might not be able to improve the squad much this summer, but that changed. And I'm going to show you now. You may see a few names you recognise as well. So I said to you last time that goalkeeper, wingers and strikers were the priority. That was true, but it hasn't quite worked out. I couldn't find a goalkeeper that could improve really on Fisher, so we haven't got a new goalkeeper yet, although I am still on the lookout. Wingers wise, well, we got Jacob Ossé back on loan. I couldn't sign him, but I figured he was good for us the last couple of years. He's actually improved from the first season to the second season, so my feeling was that there's no reason really why that improvement can't continue. I didn't realise he was so much better further forward, but he's done fine there, and he will stay there because we can't play him any further forward than that when we've got three strikers in the side. But as I said, there were some other changes that I wasn't expecting. I did say that striker was a priority. We have gone rather big on strikers, and it's kind of accidental because I bought Harry Wakefield, who I thought would be a good backup striker, and he was. He's a good backup striker. He would have been perfectly fine. Actually, I think he's probably just about on a level with Waterhouse. I've just given something away there. With Waterhouse and Javon Smith, it's similar kind of ability. But then I went and got someone else, Ben Mills, who you may recognise. We had him. He actually replaced Waterhouse the first time. It may well be that that's exactly what he's done here. To be honest with you, he got 23 goals in 27 games for us, admittedly in a league below, but I think he looks to me like still a pretty good player. He's good finishing. His pace is pretty good, not brilliant, but he can perhaps finish a few more chances for me. The kind of thing that Max Guy hasn't been finishing very well. But I didn't leave it there, because then I eventually realised that I could find an even better player. Look at this guy. 15 determination, so he should improve. He's 18, he's got good pace, good finishing. Essentially, he is exactly what I've been looking for. He's a massive upgrade. Troy Whitcomb is going to be my player for at least this season, and if I can, I will hold him down for as long as I possibly can. I can't imagine that it's going to be easy to keep him even for one more year after this, but I will do all I can to do so. So that is the exciting news. Troy Whitcomb unfortunately is injured. He's out for the next 3 weeks, so he can't actually make his debut today. We will have Wakefield, Smith and Waterhouse all playing. In terms of Wakefield or Mills, it's a difficult choice. I think I'm actually going to go for Mills actually today. I know what he can do. I think I'm going to keep him in the side. I'm not quite sure why Wakefield was there, to be honest. He is definitely a little bit below, I think, the required quality to really improve this team. But we've got in Waterhouse, Smith and Mills, we've got a really nice front three that should hopefully be able to knock some goals in. Obviously Waterhouse is unhappy, reasons being because he thinks he's been replaced. He might have been. It rather depends on how people play. Certainly based on form currently, if Whitcomb was available, Waterhouse would be on the bench. No doubt about that. But if Mills doesn't make a good start, or if Smith doesn't look particularly convincing, then it may well be that one of them go out for Whitcomb once that becomes clear. Jake Holmes is another player who we bought this summer. He's a central midfielder. Bought him from Newcastle. Pretty decent player. I think he's going to do a good job for us. He seems to me to be better suited to a defensive midfield role, which is why I've done what I've done there. My thinking is it might just make us a little bit more defensively solid as well. I'm not sure actually. I may end up pushing him further up, but we'll see how that goes. The other thing as well is we have Ugochukwu, but he's injured at the moment. I think he's going to come in for Hayhurst, who will then be on the bench, which is sad, and he's obviously unhappy for that reason. But it is sad because he's been a really, really good player for us. But the truth is, he's just not quite as good as he needs to be, I don't think, for this level. Last season, okay, he did some good stuff in the cups, but in the league, he was only okay, and we need someone who's going to be a bit better than okay, I think. So long term, Ugochukwu and Holmes in some configuration is going to be our central midfield partnership, I feel. In terms of the defence, we've tried to make some improvements there. You can see our back three at the moment is the same as last season, but we have got quite a lot more depth now. We've got Lucas Smith in, who is really a right back, but obviously we don't play with right backs, so we're going to be using him as a centre back. He's not perfect. The lack of heading is a bit of an issue there. 187. He's actually taller than I thought he was. It's not bad. 187. So maybe if he can just keep working on that position, he might end up being a decent centre back. We'll see. I mean, it's certainly not ideal, but if he can turn himself into a centre back, there are other elements of these attributes which suggest he could be a very, very good centre back. But there's just a bit of work to be done in a few areas. So it's not our first team at the moment. Troy Whitcomb and Ugochukwu will be in that first team once they are fit. But at the moment, that is what we're going to go with today against Al Saga Town. We have power on the bench, which we haven't really had before, and that's something I'm excited about. You know, if we need a goal, we can bring on Harry Wakefield. If we need a bit more creativity, Jazz Casey can come on, and he's done a perfectly good job for us in the past. And if we need more defensive solidity, we've got 3 players. I don't think I showed you Lucas Smith, who is actually another signing who could indeed help us out here. He's another player who's better as a fullback, but could do a perfectly good job. Again, his heading's not great, but it was Lucas Smith I was talking about. Sorry, ignore me. Yeah, okay, so Jake Lovegrove is the one who perhaps is going to struggle a little bit more to move to centre back because he's a bit shorter. But we'll see. It's certainly something. And the other thing as well is that it may be that at some point in the season we decide that 4-4-2 is something we need to go back to. I've still got it being trained here, so that's our other option, to go back to that formation that we used early in the last save. I think this attacking midfielder idea, I used it a bit last season because I had Liam Noble. He's gone now, so I don't think I'll be using that anymore. In fact, so much so that I think I'm going to clear that. I'm going to just go with 2. At some point, what I'll probably do is I'll realise in the middle of a save. In fact, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy it. Because I want to make sure that I can flexibly move between the defensive midfielder and the non-defensive midfielder. So, just save that. That's probably more of a default setting for this team. But when Holmes is playing, it's got to be there. I think because he suits it better. It also suggests to me that these three squares here are obviously don't have the same coverage. When you put that there, it's all green. How much difference that makes, I don't know. Answers on a postcard, I guess. But it makes me wonder whether that might be a better way to go anyway. And certainly with Holmes in the side, he is more suited to that. Should also mention that I've got this guy who's a region at the end of last year. I don't know if he'll come to anything. And the fact that his determination is dropping is a bit of a problem too. But there is certainly something in this player that makes me think maybe he could turn out to be something useful in this side. Who knows? We'll see. He's there, and it's the kind of thing I might do if, you know, in a easy cut game or something like that. I might give him a run out just to sort of see whether we can get. Because I've never really had a player come through our youth system yet, and it would be nice to do. So, ramble over. I hope that's introduced you to my team for this season. This is a really good game to have first. It's a good way to test our side against a team that I know are going to be kind of there or thereabouts. My feeling is they probably won't be the team to watch in terms of promotion itself, but they will be, you know, top 6, I would imagine. I would hope that they're a team that we can therefore beat and move on to sort of harder challenges over the next few weeks. One thing I should check, I haven't done yet, is who came up and down this season. Give me a second. MSB Woolton and West Didsbury look like they've got promoted. I'm not sure who it was. Did no one get relegated last year? It's very hard to tell because I think people can go to different the different leagues depending on where they are in the area. So it's very hard to tell who might have got promoted from the other league. Skelmersdale obviously went up, but who came down? It may be that no one got relegated. I'm not sure. In fact, have we got 20 in our league again? No, it's still 19. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to check that. If you can tell me, then please do. I don't think anyone else did get. So in other words, does that mean no one got relegated to our league this year? That seems odd. I'm not sure. Anyway, we're back on with the game, and here we go. First minute here, and I thought it had gone in. It did go in, but obviously there was a foul in the build-up, so still 0-0. I'll say with the free kick. Is that a penalty? No, it's not. O'Connell's going to get it on the build-up. By the way, I did fix the the screen. You may have noticed that I was cutting off half the screen as I sometimes do. Oh no, he's offside, it's okay. Elliot Pond offside, so it's disallowed. Is he offside? Yeah, significantly so. So yeah, obviously now you can see the whole screen a bit better. I realised that last season I was sometimes making comments about things on this side of the screen and no one could actually see that. And I will try and remember to do that every single episode from now on. Waterhouse goes close. Oh, one other thing I should mention was finances. I meant to say something before. They have improved a bit. We had a couple of friendly tournaments which meant that we could get in a bit more money. So our current balance is about minus 60,000 as opposed to negative 113. So that obviously is an improvement, but we are going to have to do something over the next year or so to change that, because at the moment, you know, we're looking at sort of by the end of the season being 200,000 down, and then sort of every season couple hundred more after that. So clearly something's going to need to be done to really try and sort of help that. As you can see, we played Bolton, Birmingham, Blackburn, Millwall, Hull and Huddersfield over the summer. Lost all of them, but the key thing of course was that gave us a fair bit of money before we then played a few friendlies to actually get ourselves into shape before the season started. You can see it made some difference. I couldn't really organise any more than that because there just wasn't anyone else who wanted to come who was profitable, so I would have liked to have done a couple more if I'm honest, but it didn't happen. And I've messed this up, haven't I? Because I have left myself short of central midfielders, which is a bit strange because I think I have got fit ones. I'm going to have to play one of my defenders. All of my defenders can play in defensive midfield. Question is which one can do it best. Got halfway for Lewis Morrison. Brad Wild, halfway as well. Jimmy Pollard, a bit better. I'm going to make it. It's going to be Jimmy Pollard, so I'm going to swap him with Finley Hayhurst. Holmes can go to central midfield. That will give us, make it a bit more defensive. Pollard, be a ball window midfielder. Excuse me, ball window midfielder, and then Finley Hayhurst can come off for Dominic Collins. I think if we were winning 2 or 3-0, I'd be thinking about bringing on Smith or Lovegrove, but Collins I know is a safe hand, and he's someone I can rely on in this situation. So on we go with our experience there. Akinola. Free kick. Ooh, hits the post. Goalkeeper was nowhere. Just been a little bit to the left, it would have gone in. Mills straight into the arms of the goalkeeper. We've certainly had more chances. 58% of the possession. The disappointing thing, of course, is the fact that we haven't scored. It's early in the season, so I'm not going to be hard on them. But we need to start taking our chances. Right, so we need to really go for it now, because we've got only a few minutes left, and we're still at 0-0. Going to bring on Wakefield for Smith. Of course, if we score, I will cancel this. And I'll bring on Casey for Osei, I think. See if we can create something towards the end here. But we have got a chance before that substitution. Osei gets the ball. Waterhouse on the left. Akinola picks the ball up, and Smith is there, but it goes over the bar. So the substitutions have been made. Smith makes his last contribution by heading over. Doesn't look like we're going to get the win here though. Draw away to Alsager is by no means a disaster, and that will be, I'm sure, the end of the game. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely not a disaster. Not ideal. It's a game that I would have liked to have won, but generally speaking, you know, we played well. Another day we would have won that game. Good to see Brad Wild having another good game. A youngster who is looking like he's going to be a really key player for us this year. Who's obviously pretty decent last year as a very young man. Former Oldham man. Finley Hayhurst not great. It kind of solves a dilemma for me because I don't really want him in the team anymore, I don't think, and he's quite upset about that. But if he's going to give performances like that, then what can he do? Tim Akinola lost a lot of possession. He's another player who might be at risk this season if we can find the right player to come into that side. But wasn't the ideal performance to start the season with, for sure. Not to score in that first game is disappointing. Hayhurst out for 3 to 4 months, so as I say, that does solve a problem at least, but it does in the short term give us a bit of a problem. We have got Jay Matete, but not really the player I'd want to have in that position, to be honest, but I think that's going to have to be what we go with. Stuart Harris, any good? No, he's not. Actually, having said that, might he be good as a centre back? I've seen a lot worse. Yeah, I'm gonna get him in as a centre back. No, he doesn't want to. Okay, And okay, so that's the beginning of the season. A 0-0 draw is not ideal. We have got the FA Cup preliminary round with such big favourites there that I think I will skip that one. I'm going to come back, I think, for the next round of the Cup, assuming that it's a good one. And I'll also live com another league game around that. So we'll do a double live com as our second commentary game of the season. I hope you've enjoyed our little intro to the new season. Shame that we didn't have any goals, but a fairly solid defensive performance at least. Good to see Lewis Morrison and Brad Wild playing well. And actually, the defence itself is in very, very good vein of form at the moment. That's good, really nice to see. Still looking a little bit for a few more players. Billy Fisher is a player I'd like to upgrade, ideally. If I can get another left winger in, I might still do that. Obviously, it's less urgent now that I've got to say there, because Jazz Casey can cover in that area. But if I can find a left-sided player, I will. And then obviously the strikers are now more than catered for. Central midfield's another position I might try and get one more in, but I'm not convinced that we need it now, to be honest. I think particularly when Ogochukwu gets back, I think we've got enough strength there. He's good enough at this point. He probably will be the player I'm least enthused by in this side, but I don't think it's an urgent thing. If I find someone brilliant, that could change, but I think it's unlikely. Okay, so I will see you tomorrow. I hope you've enjoyed this first video of the season. Bye for now.